Okay, I see. There's a diverse female where Cartman used to be, and you don't like that.
It's not that we don't like it, don't you think that's weird?
Well, I don't see a problem with it at all. And if you boys don't think Eric can be a black woman, then maybe the problem is you.
South Park is one of the longest running animated series in history. Like, this show is old, really old. Like, this show is actually 5 years older than me. And look, in my personal life, I've had people tell me, bro, how do you watch South Park? It's literally a show that just uses rage bait and controversy to stay relevant. And look, as a real fan, I can objectively say that is as far from the truth as possible. Series creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone have always said that they never wanted South Park to be just another long-running animated series with a niche audience. Rather, they've always wanted South Park to be culturally relevant with what's going on in the world. And it's really been interesting to see all the ways that they've done it throughout the years, with the most recent example being the Paramount Plus specials. After cutting a fat, and I do mean fat, deal with Paramount, South Park started airing these yearly specials on Paramount. These specials would normally be close to an hour long and would have a theme centered around something going on in the world. And I'm not gonna lie, I like this format way more than the traditional 10-episode season. There's just a special feeling when a South Park special drops on a random day that just makes it feel like an event. And as someone who's watched every single one of them, I could tell you they're all great, check them all out. But by far, my favorite one has to be Joining the Pandaverse. This was released in October of last year, and it gave some really nice commentary around some topics that I found really interesting. More specifically, AI and what a future with it looks like, billionaires and how they don't even seem to be real people at times, and obviously the most interesting topic of them all, Matt and Trey did a complete deep dive into the culture war in current day media and explained why both sides are objectively not as right as they think they are. And look, as someone who regularly makes videos analyzing and critiquing media, this is a topic that I'm really invested in, because for the last 4 years I have seen some of the most ridiculous arguments from both sides of the fence. And this special came out at the perfect time. The only problem is, it was like both sides couldn't understand that they were also getting critiqued during the special. But that's fine, because today we're going to analyze everything. So sit back and relax as we take a look back at South Park's quote-unquote anti-woke special. So there were two main plots throughout the course of this special, one revolving around Randy and one revolving around Cartman, but we'll take a look at that one a little bit later. Randy's plot was funny because, let's be real, Randy's one of the funniest characters in the entire show, and I also think he's become one of Matt and Trey's favorite characters in the entire show, but that could just be my guess. But Randy's plot doesn't really flow with Cartman's at all. Nonetheless, it revolves around Randy trying to fix his oven door. He wakes Stan and Shelly up to tell them that kids their age don't know how to do anything anymore because of ChatGPT, which I'm not gonna lie, I can kind of confirm. Me being someone who a lot of people would consider as a young adult, a lot of people my age don't know how to do anything for themselves. And you might think I'm exaggerating, but if I told you how many people I know who genuinely don't know how to fry an egg at the age of 20 plus, your jaw would literally drop. Not to mention, with tools like ChatGPT, people are becoming less interested in trying to learn things for themselves, which is honestly one half of the irony of Randy's arc in this special, because while he's telling Stan and Shelly that they don't know how to do anything because of ChatGPT and all that, his idea of teaching them how to fix an oven door is literally him just calling the handyman. And even though Randy has multiple chances to fix the oven door by himself, he still thinks his only solution is to call the handyman, which I honestly think is a good critique of many people nowadays, because bro, with the internet, you literally have all the information in the world at your fingertips. I've never understood how people don't know how to do simple things like change a tire, fry an egg, set up a TV, when literally all it takes is one Google search or one YouTube video. And we see the same type of thing with Randy in this special. Even when Siri is literally giving him the information step by step on how to change the oven door, he just asks Siri if she can do it for him or if she can find someone else to do it for him. But we then see that Randy's actually not the only person doing this, and it's actually the entire town who are only relying on handymen to do stuff for them. And they've actually become so dependent on handymen that the handyman can charge crazy amounts of money. All the men in town literally put 20k together to pay the handyman to put a catapult together. And at that moment I realized they must have lost their minds, because who's paying anyone 20k to put something together? The catapult came in a box. You can't make me believe it didn't also come with instructions. Y'all are just a different level of lazy. And because of this, the handyman becomes so rich that they literally become billionaires. And once they become billionaires, the two of them just start acting really weird. And it's pretty obvious the two of them are supposed to be parodies of Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. which is so crazy that I can say I live in a world where Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk were almost about to fight each other in an MMA match. I swear I wanted that to happen so bad, I can't believe they canceled it. And you better believe my money was on Zuckerberg. But once the handymen become billionaires, they're kind of not worried about doing jobs for people anymore because, you know, billionaires. So they're more worried about getting to space, which means there's nobody around anymore to do jobs for Randy and the rest of the town. Which leads Randy and the rest of the men to revolt against billionaires. I didn't really understand this part of the plot. I'm gonna be honest, it was not the strongest side plot in South Park history. But Randy ends up blaming his lack of ability to do things on, of course, ChatGPT, but also college, saying that college is a scam that owes him money, which, you know, I could kind of agree with. Now, Cartman by far had the more interesting plot throughout this entire special, and the plot that I could actually resonate with the most because of the side of the internet that I'm on. Cartman's plot revolved around him having nightmares where him and everybody else that he knows would be race swapped with diverse women, and he would blame these nightmares on none other than Kathleen Kennedy. Now, if you don't know who Kathleen Kennedy is, don't worry, I didn't know either until I watched this special, but she is the current day president of Lucasfilms. And if you don't know what Lucasfilms is, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, you get the picture. But in real life, Kathleen Kennedy is a figure that gets a lot of hate from a large portion of the fan bases from these two franchises. Now, I wouldn't say I'm a hardcore fan of either one of these franchises and can give you every single reason as to why she gets so much hate, but the simplest reason is many people blame her for the decline of Indiana Jones, but mostly the Star Wars franchise. Over the years, a lot of fans have expressed criticism towards her when it comes to her creative decisions regarding the newer Star Wars movies, specifically The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. A lot of fans also feel like under her reign as president, a lot of legacy characters like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo have been heavily disrespected. There's also a large portion of the fans that feel like at times these newer Star Wars movies have spent more time trying to emphasize a political message than actually trying to tell a good story, which really reflects in the reviews for some of these movies. And I would say at its core, a lot of these critiques are pretty valid. It's no secret that franchises like Star Wars and Indiana Jones are nowhere near the popularity or quality that they were at when they were at their peak. And if you're a longtime fan of these franchises, I can understand you feeling frustrated. And since Kathleen Kennedy is the face that people think of when they think of Lucasfilms now, it does make sense that she would be the one receiving all the hate. Throughout the course of the special, we would see that Cartman's diversity dreams are a byproduct of something called the Pandaverse, South Park's own take and critique on the multiverse trope, which they call it out for being a lazy tool to fix bad writing, which if I'm being honest, I completely agree with. Like, I don't know what it is about the whole multiverse concept, but over the last couple years, it has become one of the most overused tropes that I've ever seen. And the crazy thing is, it's not even a new concept. There's always been shows and movies that have dived into the multiverse idea. But it's like ever since the success of the Spider-Verse movies, as well as Marvel's constant use of it, you just see it everywhere and everyone trying to use it. And look, don't get me wrong, there have been phenomenal cases where people have used this idea and it has been amazing. Like I said before, the Spider-Verse movies, but also things like Everything Everywhere All at Once. That was one of my favorite movies to drop in 2022. And I even thought Deadpool and Wolverine was a really good movie. But even in that movie, Deadpool was very upfront to say that they're using the multiverse to bring Logan back alive and that they're not going to take the time to sit and write a clever way to bring him back. Which honestly, I guess I can appreciate the upfrontness. But on top of critiquing the multiverse, this special would also critique both sides of the fence when it comes to something on the internet that's been known as the culture war. Now, if you're a regular person that isn't chronically online, you probably don't even know what this is. But basically, over the last couple years, there have been two sides of the internet that have been going back and forth with each other, arguing over how current day media is portrayed. One side's a little bit more liberal and the other side's a little bit more conservative, to say the least. And this was portrayed through the characters of Cartman and Kathleen Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy's character was used to not only critique Disney, but also critique people who believe pandering to people in media is a good decision. Because in most case scenarios, pandering to people never works. No matter what you do, there's always going to be a subsection of people that are upset. So instead of trying to pander to people in media to get them to like your products, just focus on making a good product and people will like it. And Cartman's character was used to represent the side of the internet that just hates on any project with any bit of diversity. Over the last couple years, there has been a large portion of people on the internet that genuinely hate on any new project that comes out if a woman, person of color, or gay person is in it. You'll often hear them call projects like this woke in a negative manner, which is so ironic if you actually look up the real definition of woke. And this type of hatred that you see online has even spread to things like video games. A couple weeks ago, Ghost of Tsushima, one of the greatest PlayStation games of all time, a game that so many people have been asking for years to get a sequel, finally announced it. But when people found out that the main character was going to be a girl, even though normal people were still excited to play the game, this subsection of the internet ran online to call the game woke. South Park critiqued this side of the internet by using Cartman to say that this type of backlash that these people give doesn't do anything. It doesn't make creators want to buy to bigotry, and it isn't going to produce the type of content that these people want. And even though Matt and Trey addressed both sides of the fence, if you really watched this special from start to finish, you would know that the message was more directed towards the go woke, go broke bros. The only message towards the other side was to stop pandering and to stop being lazy when it comes to creating media. But when this special dropped, there were so many quote unquote anti-woke YouTubers dropping think pieces about how South Park annihilated Kathleen Kennedy, which just goes to show that people will believe anything they want if it pushes their narrative. But all in all, I think joining the Pandaverse was a great special, especially if you keep up with the current day conversation surrounding media. But if you made it to the end of the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload my next video. Make sure to follow my socials in the description if you want to keep up with me, and until then, it's been your boy CornXV, and I'm off this. Pull up in Rovers, it's over. Bitch, I'm cheese sauce, this coke llama.